Welcome everybody to this video presentation of mine. Who is next on the menu? Right now Russia is devouring the Ukraine, and the NATO can't really come to their aid because Ukraine isn't a NATO country. And meanwhile, we're looking who's next on this list. Here we have all the European countries cowering, and all that's standing between them and Russia is NATO. So NATO, G7, EU leaders display unity in Brussels, and they're going to take a stand against the bear. I think Finland and Sweden could be next on the list, and here's the reason why. Well, in Daniel 7:5 it says, "Behold, another beast, a second, like to a bear, and it raised up itself on one side, and it had 3 ribs in its mouth, between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, Arise, devour much flesh." And like a lot of people say, well, this is the Medes and Persians, this is Old Testament, but from Daniel. However, it's prophetic of this time, because that kingdom of Medes and Persia, it ended. So let's look a little bit at why I think Sweden and Finland are next. Now in Isaiah 13:17 it says, "Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them," talking about Babylon, "which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they will not delight in it." So who are the Medes? I think the Medes are Russia. And I'm not the only one who thinks that, because the Medes was the bear in Daniel 7:5, and Russia today is a bear. And it says he's going to stir them up. God is going to stir them up. And this is what's really going on in the Ukraine. God has stirred up Russia, stirred up the bear, and the result is that they in fear that Ukraine might become part of the NATO, they have attacked it in their mind to avoid Third World War. So the US and NATO fit more like with Babylon. So let's look. Media extends up into the present day Russia. Right here's Media, and it was always north and east of Babylon, and so they represent a great nation coming up out of the north. But look here, Media extends right up into here, and if we look at Russia present day, Russia comes right down between these two seas, the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea. So today Russia is not only Gog and Magog, but it is present day Media. Now, why Russia may attack Finland and Sweden. Article 5 of NATO Treaty means that violence against one ally is treated as violence against every member. And so, they're ready, always ready to defend other NATO members. But Ukraine never got into NATO, so they can't really apply Article 5. And this is why, in fact, Russia did that. But now Finland and Sweden are threatening to join up with NATO. So what's the obvious reaction? Russia's not going to put up with it. Russia warns that no more NATO expansion east. They're not going to put up with it. They said that, and they just kept going with NATO trying to get into Ukraine. So they stepped in. In their mind, they're avoiding a nuclear war with NATO and the US. So if Ukraine became a NATO country, then NATO would have to defend Ukraine. That would be Third World War. That would be Armageddon. This wouldn't be a stirring up. Russia, therefore, must, in their mind, attack Ukraine and keep it, avoid Third World War. That's what he said. to the war in Ukraine, I think, is just a birthday. It's not Armageddon. And so too, if Finland and Sweden try to join NATO, Russia will, in their mind, be forced to attack them before it happens. Otherwise, World War III. That's their thinking. So notice here the bear has 3 ribs in its mouth. Well, who are the 3 ribs? One is Ukraine, I believe. So could the other 2 be, Finland and Sweden? We could have this Russia-Scandinavian war coming up next. Nation will rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. Britain was the only European country to really stand up against Russia. They threatened Russia with nuclear war. And, now Johnson has been forced to resign. So who are they going to bring in? Anybody that'll keep standing? Nope. And I think this is part of it. So now nobody's going to stand up. And NATO deal between Turkey, Sweden, and Finland here just the other day, June 29th. And so why that? Well, Turkey has been under economic problems, and they're 70% inflation, and so they had to buckle under. So I think they were forced by the money people to back off on their hard stand for Sweden and Finland. So what's this going to do? It's just going to open up the door for Sweden and Finland to enter in. And what's that going to do for Russia? In their mind, that could end up in Third World War, so they might be stepping in. So they could be the 2 ribs, the other 2 ribs. So just an interesting idea. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what happens. But, God is sovereign. He has everything in control. Christ is still seated on the throne. And, we have to wait on these things. This battle in Ukraine is not Armageddon, because Armageddon happens in the Middle East. And so we're not there yet. We're in the war. We're in the birth pangs. So God bless. Keep on the alert and keep trusting in Christ.